Hi, beautiful people. I'm doing like a little taping of my like original Tethered Studios handbook of like what the company is, and I wrote this is like why we consider, I believe it's May 22nd, 2020, as the day I started the business, because that's the day I made this. So I just thought I'd like read it and kind of bring life to these words and think about how this vision from 6 years ago like has gotten me to where it is now just by like still doing it every day. And I think that's the thing with entrepreneurship. You'll know it's your path because it just emerges out of you every day. The passion, the service, the good, the work, the prototype, whatever it is that you do with love, it's like, it's done every day. And the gift that you get is looking at that over time. So this is my like little Bible. My dad taught me to write a Bible early so that it's pretty easy to kind of spin off and write Bibles on Bibles on Bibles. But anyways, so Tethered Studios by Alexis Taylor, and I considered myself the studio expressionist. I think the biggest mantra of Tethered Studios is what we have italicized here. It's art that witnesses God's will, period. I tried to keep the theme of autoethnography, studying myself, studying the components of the multidimensional metaphysical human being that you see here, and identifying, my trade or my practices or my devotion to those characteristics and those traits that come with just me. And I feel like I'm equal parts. Like I grew up with such strong definitions of what life means, and they were comprehensive and they were robust, and there wasn't really ever time for conversation about like we question the truth. And that zero tolerance questioning of the truth created in me, the offspring of my mother and my father, this innovation where somehow God's will is the only, like if you tapped into some generational curse breaking energy and you reach some sort of supreme knowledge, your seed comes out as just the supreme knowledge, just your genes fused with the supreme knowledge. And that's what I feel like me and my brother are, to my parents. And that is why my brother and I have to do what it is that we're doing. It's so dead ass. Like, everyone who knows Sherman Lee Taylor is like, the guy's supposed to be microphone on amp, shredding and screaming. That's like my brother's destiny. And he's been there forever, And for me, it has always been like, ironically enough, like the party, like the life of the party, you know what I mean? Like straight up, guys, it's kind of always been like, let Alexis have the party. That's her thing, because I genuinely love to party. Genuinely, I love ceremony. I love celebration. I live as music. I love physical humans. Like, you know what I mean? And the biggest thing I love more than any of that is dancing, because of the spiritual art that it is. And so that is God's will in my life. Movement as medicine, So that isn't something I will ever escape. And so it's so important that as I grew into my understanding and identity as an artist, that I also acknowledge that I walk a parallel walk, which is this whole God's will. And it's different when God is asking you to be an artist. You can be an artist. I guess make art. Yeah, I guess that makes you an artist. But the artist lifestyle, and I think what many artists that resonate with the studio and are connected to the studio really feel is that like art is not, most of you know the feeling of like, there isn't anything else for me to be doing. I think your work also shows that. It's like people know you as the type of person who's like, what the fuck else would we need fucking this motherfucker to do? Nothing, brother. They don't need you to do nothing else. You can keep doing what you're doing, baby. You know what I mean? Just keep doing what you're doing. And it's so magic because a lot of artists who really do live the artist lifestyle and just like live and sustain themselves on their art, you are in such a sacred covenant with God, such an abundant place. because only artists are like, yeah, I'm supposed to be on the stage. I'm supposed to be running around just focusing on art. Art is not necessary. So that makes you very special, in certain ways. And so that's where this mantra for me, and I really owe mantra. I mean, it really started with my parents, obviously, like, you guys don't know how serious this is. You guys, none of you would go up to the next closest Baptist church, walk in there, and just demand the preacher come out and meet his family. That is exactly who you're talking to. So before you come around with the rah-rah, if you really want to fuck with me, the whole clergy's on that ass. So you just need to understand, it is literally like you are going up to, most of y'all really are uncomfortable by Christians, like in practice. Because like, if not a fake Christian, but like real Christians that go to motherfucking church, that Christian church, and they do that Christian shit, the real Christians that live by it and they don't let themselves do certain shit because of their belief, right? Because of who they believe the Messiah was to be. Those motherfuckers, that's really what I'm talking about. That's like a real network, like legally, like a real network of fucking people. Okay? So my story's real. Because I'm the outcast. But I would be Sherman Ray. I would be his daughter. Because I am exactly like my father. And we had a Cosmic Connection 2025, a reunion, a winning moment. 25 years since my dad started Spirit of Truth Ministries. 20 years since my dad had a massive stroke that he had 35 minutes to live from. That we got it done, team. He's still here. Okay? Lineage of healers. So I know you girls only do the Instagram rah-rah. I know that. I know you're mentally ill. I know that. Duh. But like, I'm being serious. If we were the same age and we grew up in the same place, went to the same school or something, like I would be like someone in your grade whose dad, like father was like the local city, county area's preacher, like a preacher. A reverend, yes. Like, so it's like the sheriff's daughter. Again, I keep saying that, but I feel like you girls don't give me half as much credit for being as cool as I am. I was born into the Christian Kool-Aid. Born into it. The word. I wasn't born into it, but Christianity comes with it. Because my dad knows the truth in the religion. He lives the truth. We're not religious. No, we're the truth. Yeah, because we fuse. There's no other way to be for my dad. He's already reborn, straight up. Like, shouldn't be alive. So he's not here. He's not hyper locally real. No, he's not. So we're not with the fucking rah, because you girls can't even say God for real. There's no hiding. You're so scared to even claim your beliefs because you have none. If you are without any belief system, it goes to default the author of confusion. A lot of people get riled up into that. It's not a judgment. It's just where you genuinely are. You're not doing what you're not doing. But I promise you, if you're playing God, you're probably not serving God. That's for sure. Because servants of God are serving God for the sheer fact that they feel like that's the role they can actually access. If they could play God, they probably wouldn't be serving it, right? Duh. I'd be kind of serving myself, I guess, whatever. But we're serving God in reverence to like how big that phenomena really is, how much we would never disrespect with our insignificant, finite life. Oh, the foolish king, the fucking Emperor's New Groove ass niggas who are like literally living in like white nationalism, like all that rah-rah, all that maxed out, export and extract every major good and collect it all and harvest it and put it on one grid. That's why God burned the whole grid to the ground. You guys are hoarding wealth that you're stealing. You got called out for it, and then you acted like spineless weasels, and now God's going to burn all the possessions and burn your soil. Good for the soil in like, if we start doing the zoomed out 100-year history. In 100 years when the soil has repropagated, it will be great, new nutrient, it'll be a whole new ecosystem. For right now, not so great. Because it just stops you from having its 7 cycles of famine. Kind of like we said, right? In the Bible. I didn't say it. The Bible said that's how you would go. Because you girls pick the exact same fucking... It's like, that's your hand. You know what I mean? So I created this concept from the soul question. Where do we, artists, go from here? From right here. I think you girls know where here is, right? Alexis wrote this in May of 2020, mind you. A proper baby, 23, 2-3. I was 2-3. I was 23 years old, like, where are artists gonna go from here? Right? 2020. It's like, where are we going? What's going on? Here, meaning the realm of charted territory, where we pull our inspiration from. Because that's where here is. This is what we know, charted. We've been here. We know what's around. And this is what we know is where we've been pulling inspiration from. But it seems like something happened here, right? The place that we pull inspiration from, the place we know, the place that's comfortable. Something happened there. And like I said, 7 cycles of famine. It's going to be a long time before it's what it was like 20 minutes ago, right? Right. And if we're going somewhere from here, who's archiving what we're doing in the meantime? You see me asking these rhetorical questions at 23 because I'm a genius? Exactly. The initial exhaustion, pause, I'm tired from the start, and specificity of the artist's lifestyle. So let me run that back. The initial exhaustion, there's the initial exhaustion, and specificity. There's two things going on here. I'm exhausted, and there's super, super specific aspects that come with the artist lifestyle that left me yearning to outsource from a higher, more sustainable, and renewable resource instead of, believe it or not, constantly pulling from myself. You see what you guys were doing? You were constantly pulling from yourself. It's us, it's us, it's us, right? Right. I'm helping you girls, okay? Well, who else is helping you out of this? It's not, there's nothing to help. It's slow recovery. Kind of like the rehab you bet you should have checked into. Okay, so back to, I was yearning to outsource, meaning like, you know what? This is an ego death. I was having an ego death here, obviously, because I was yearning to outsource. I said, you know what, God? I can't do your job. When it's up to Alexis, niggas was shooting all through Brooklyn. Brooklyn was on fire when I was writing these words. Protests, fucking everything was on fire. Everything was on fire. We were all dying from the inside out while I was writing this. Lucky for me, I am merely a reflected image of a more perfect entity whose authorship and design has already emboldened me to act in this moment on this very premonition. Isn't that wonderful? Me acknowledging that God already knew that I was going to know that I was going to need to know. So, good thing I'm writing on my fucking Mac desktop. Yes. Spiritual undertakings have allowed me to arrive at this philosophy-based studio that simultaneously chronicles the unraveling of an art revolution within an ascending population and deeply nourishes and heals our pre-existing connection to non-third dimensional energy and phenomena. Let's run that back. It was spiritual undertakings, that's what I wanted to cite, that have allowed me to arrive at this philosophy-based studio that simultaneously chronicles the unraveling of an art revolution within an ascending population and deeply nourishes and heals our pre-existing connection to non-third dimensional physical energy and phenomena, right? Because over on the T-Stu, you watch miracles on the screen and you're like, that's healing my relationship with unseen things. I used to have the nervousness. I used to flinch when I didn't know what was going to happen next. I used to want to grip on and control the outcome. I used to do dumb shit just because it would be more comfortable to know what was going to happen, even if it meant going to hell, than fucking letting the unknown take over. And because of that, I behave and I create these deep patterns that just really make me miss out on big chunks of life. But now, because of Tethered Studios, I'm being deeply nourished and healed between that connection, between me and what I can't see, what I don't know. Because I watch Alexis safely do it first. She goes up against all this shit she don't know, and look how it turns out. It's actually cinema. Glory, hallelujah. Can the church say amen, amen, amen? This is the innovation. This is the innovation. This is Jesus Christ Superstar University Edition, yes. 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 Carry on. While there will always be more to explore, we are that which desires to explore the inner workings of our Creator. Simple. I'm identifying you and me. Why we're listening to this. We, me and you, are that which desires to explore the inner workings of our Creator. Me and you are in this space right now because we come here to see what God's on. Like, what's God thinking? What's it like being the Creator? This is us watching God. This is God witnessing us witnessing God. That's what Tethered Studio is. The camera. That's why I was always going to be a filmmaker. Because that's the innovation. My dad's a seer, but it's the pupil and the camera. It's my blueprints. How the geometry of my body. I was born to do this. I am cinema. Shut the fuck up. And I get a right to say that. What the fuck? My niggas was on the fucking slave shit, bitch. Yeah, I am cinema. Y'all didn't have no cameras down there. Y'all don't even know what the fuck they was doing. Y'all would definitely agree with me that you're a fucking evil-ass white supremacist if you actually had a camera rolling in them slave ships, nigga. They would come down there with the sorghum and millet and they would throw it at our faces and we would just be period blood, vomiting, shitting like scallywags. I'm a pirate for real because there's a big batch of niggas that just was pirates. That voyage from fucking their home soil to fucking America, I will always honor the fucking sea, bro. I will. A lot of my guys wading in the water. Wade in the water. Yes. Yes, baby. We had to wade in that water. Wade in that water. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Yes, we did. Yes, we did, just so I can make some films. So you best believe I'm going to let my ancestors know I'm going to make them as many movies as they want to watch. Yes. I'm going to show them how good it gets. Because we all in the kingdom. I come to this earth in this flesh, and in this flesh I will always honor the dead and make sure that they can come join so they can ascend their soul. Because while we gaslight the dead, we don't help them ascend. A lot of these niggas just sit up here bored. Damn, don't nobody engage me. Some of these people died prematurely. They didn't get to finish their karma that they need to finish. They ain't gonna go to the next. It's like we need to finish stuff up so everybody isn't always in the in-between is what I felt. But I was born for this. Now, so we already discussed that. Why are we the same? Because we like to explore God's inner workings. May we, me and you, unlock the infinite realities that exist in the now when we include the spirit of all things as we travel within our process. Do you see that consideration? Do you see that empathy embedded into the DNA of my film formula? It's not a joke. The only way for it to be there, like Bjork said, right? If something doesn't have soul, it's because somebody didn't put it there. She's just kind of emphasizing, we're not even critiquing soulless music. She's just like, soul is something you have to be intentional about. Are you leaving the girl something soulful? Probably not. That's all that's getting G-checked right now. The stuff that was given with soul, guess what? It's doing just fine. If you live in soulfully, you're doing just fine. But if you're soulless and you're trying to just blend in, it's seen. So I'm asking that me and you can unlock infinite realities together here in this space on the studio. When we get to include the spirit back into things. This is why my dad made Spirit of Truth Ministries. Understand our sacred lettering, okay? S and T are the pillars of my patrilineal lineage, okay? My father, Sherman Ray Taylor. Hellcat, SRT, yes, Sherman Ray Taylor. SRT in this motherfucker, okay? He made it junior. Sherman Lee Taylor, Big Lee. Big Lee, not the little one. Yes, sir. Shout out my Lees. Well, right. L's in the chat, right? Lee 2 E's. You know the Linyahe. You know the Linyahe. Yes. Where'd he get the Lee from? That'd be WT. Wanda Lee. Understand the Southern breakdown. You get me? Now, when they went alien side in 97, when they was on that Stankonia, boom, came the Aquemini. Out of this world. No one saw it coming. Boom, Alexis. Whoa. masculine queen, boom, and this motherfucker, boom, defender, boom, of the highest mountain, boom, boom, rah, rah. She's a monk. We have to accept her way of life. She's gonna flow in the wind. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. ACT, yes. Because I'm gonna call you whores forward into action. Yes. We're rolling. When ACT is behind that camera, baby. Lights, camera, action. Yes, it was spoken of me, yes. So you know the brick squad now, okay? You know the brick squad now, okay? Mom's a master numerological fucking vibe check. Father is a fucking spiritual guru, thought leader, radical, mobilizer, healer. Daughter is a dancer. So, get with it now. Intrinsically, all artists desire the deepest connection with their creator possible. It's the truth. All artists, dead ass, we're like all like, I think because we all want to make good art, right? Our art sustains our shit, right? Right. So the best way to make good art is if you're really deeply connected to it. So that's an intrinsic thing. I'm saying that's your nature. I'm saying by DNA, if you're really an artist, your desire is for whatever you make to pretty much deeply be connected to you, right? When we create with ourselves as the source of all our work, we can be overwhelmed with the infinite nature of the paths we can embark on and take our gifts. So what is Alexa saying here? If I create with myself as the source, like, oh, I'm doing everything. I'm I'm genuinely doing everything. Like I'm doing all like everything. Then what I'm saying is we can get overwhelmed by that, because when you wear all the hats, it's not diversity helping illuminate what path comes forward. When you have a team, when you have divine assistance, and a divine team, not people, but I mean like a divine team. When you allow spirit to assist you in this life, you have so much help. Like right now, I don't know where my ops are. God's in the field, pa, 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 oh, 5 of them, pa, 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 yeah, popping them, pa, pa. And can't nobody touch me. But I'm not doing that, right? So what I'm saying is if you're the artist that was sourcing it yourself, you'd have to fucking keep one eye open and fucking pay the bills and roll the camera. You're tired because you want to be the source. Yeah, you get the clout of being the guy who does it, the gal who does it, the ting who does it, but you don't have any help. And sometimes it can also just make it way harder because it's like you're doing all this stuff at one time. Who knows what the right thing to do is? Because it's always your perspective deciding on everything. Versus what I say here. Sourcing the will of God in your work ensures that you only experience your art in this life in the deepest, most fulfilled manner possible. For it is God's will if God is the creator of your gifts. So what do I say? The insurance in your art that I believe is the future for artists, a new future, a new teaching, which comes from the Tethered Studios framework, is that if you use if everything you make, you say, is because God told you to, jeez, can anyone stop you? No. If you make something, if you start only making the art that God asks you to make, then I promise you it's actually the only way to ensure that you experience your art in this life in that same natural way, deep and really fulfilling, right? As fulfilling and as deep as possible. Because why would I make all the great #1 hits if they don't mean the most to me? And I think that's where some of you are ready now to join the studio, because it's like, right, like, dude, my shit, I genuinely do make it, though. It's got to, however much it fills me up is how much it fills everybody else up. If it's a #1 for everyone else, it's genuinely about how much, like, you fuck with your shit. But I see a lot of artists on the interior, you don't have community. You don't have people that really eat and devour of your shit. There's a lot of artists that are moving over the Stu's way because, listen, I'm just a person with a particular taste, okay? So is my husband. It's good taste, but I mean, it is just a particular taste. I mean, yours could be different. But I do believe that there are plenty of artists that find out that they're in the Morning Star, like the Morning Stars like appreciate their art, and it does do something for them, because when the Morning Stars are doing the art thing, we indulge, baby. Yes, we indulge in a little bit of art. If you couldn't tell, we love to savor art. Yes, we do. So that's a real thing too. And I think there's a lot of artists that are stuck in capitalism, and you keep like having to half talk to like an audience of like consumers who you don't even view as really your fan base. They're just consumers that could keep the job part going. So when we're all suffering and choking on air this summer, yes, during our regular summer, right? Okay? Our regular lesbian summer, no less, 2026. This is something for us to really think about. You know what I mean? We can really finally understand that it's like, right, but as an artist, the biggest check I could get ever, and I need to really believe this in my spirit and meditate over it until it's really all the way grounded into my root chakra. The best gift that I can get is the fact that I get to indulge in the art world as an artist. That's probably like the coolest thing. It's like always having a VIP wristband on. If you actually make art, it's like your season pass to the Momi, the Momskalata. Yes, you're at the Merma. Yes, you get to come, yes, to the Met Gala for the bad bitches, yes. It's like that. It would be like that feeling. Like, oh, I just get to go because, I'm an artist. Yes. And what is the art world? It's not a club. It's not a party, no. It's the entry into savoring and devouring the rest of the reflections and the mirrors in the art world and different mediums that may take on. Knowing you are being savored and devoured all the same. It's beauty. It's theater. It's the future. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's not a fucking HBO special. This is no Timmy. This is not an acting bag. This is just the spectrum of personality you have when you aren't a child abuser within yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? When I make my life about making sure that the child inside of me is always being parented, right? An external child is a miracle. It's also a lifetime commitment and sacrifice. And I want you to understand that the relationship you have with your inner child is really all there is. Your inner child is the blueprint. They're the one who knows where you're supposed to go from exactly where you're standing. And if you don't let them out of that motherfucking dungeon, there is no forward movement for you from this point forward. Saturn and Aries. The kids are saying, follow our rules. A great time to plug Saturn and Aries volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Supreme Protein. That is a great body of work to go help you understand what realm and landscape we are stepping into. If you have not already experienced that. So, and I also just wanted to be clear, what did I define a studio expressionist as? The soul designer whose individual expression has been consecrated by God to channel and ground the physical components of the studio in its entirety. So that's why the fuck I'm that, okay? Okay. I am, after all, the creator's art that served the creator in the way of the original intent. This is most pleasing to the divine designer. And in turn, we can ensure our creations will be in this image. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that was just me justifying why I went with that, right? Where I said, I believe that sourcing the will of God, only making art now. Like, art might be so cooked that we can only make the shit God needs, because this art's so unnecessary. So there's just like, don't talk unless God really called you to say something, and it has to be the way God said to do it, because otherwise it's going to flop and it's going to look satanic, right? So artists, I'm trying to clean this up because we can't do that. I don't think that's your intent, but you can't try to DIY it anymore on the creative direction. The creative director needs to be God on all of your shit from this point forward. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Right, okay. Listen to this mantra I wrote. If it begins with I, the paths available are infinite. If it begins with the highest power, the path forward illuminates. Woo! Wait a minute, Alexis. I've never heard duality without feeling bad, right? It was never supposed to be that being on the left or the right meant one was good or bad. They're different. There's two parties because we identify that there might be a giant divide or two types of correlating and corresponding experiences. I believe in the America where if you're on the left, it's because you grew up in a certain type of environment. And if you're on the right, there was another type of environment. Maybe it's the urban versus rural. One requires different types of laws, comprehensive, whatever. So people in those areas need to have the right to have candidates that reflect the real components of the things that they might experience in a urban area. Now, if it's a rural farmland area, everybody's spread out, everybody owns everything, everybody is like, everything is old, everything is passed down, there's not a lot of new reinventing of the wheel popping up. It's a lot more preservation. In those spaces, you have completely different needs. So it was never to come at each other, but who was trying to get you to come at each other? Niggas who wanted to be over the whole thing, but knew they didn't satisfy either one. So critique this guy and critique that guy, but it's useless. The left is talking about a completely different lens and level of empathy than what you'd have to be empathetic over on the right. The right just doesn't have certain things. They may not have certain variables in place, so that's why they have certain laws. Like sometimes what you have to understand is when you start dealing with enough globalized people in different paths, and you really look for people through their spirit, you also realize that a lot of people are just talking from the context. Like, you need to know, like, okay, for example, I'm a Black woman. One thing that I definitely, like, my mother and my father were really educated on. We were very, like, much raising Black children, Black African people, right? So we were always like, you are a beautiful Black girl. Like, that's very important for you to understand because there's just no, in our country, we're not in Africa. So we have to, like, we have to preserve it. There's an idea of that. It's not just about, like, why are you always trying to keep it separate? It's not separate. It's actually, like, preventing erasure. Because if you don't have any premise of like where you came from, especially if you're on the diaspora in some way, just like where your shit is sourced from, like where you really are actually coming from, then that's the problem. But anywho, you know, like I said, it's just, it's one of those times collectively where, you know, we want to really acknowledge that you really only need to self-identify honestly and accurately. You want to make sure that you are upright in the truth. You're telling the truth of the reality of the life you really live. And you want to make sure you are accurate about how you see what you do in comparison to how God sees what you do. Those are the only requirements for all Americans right now. You don't gotta, you don't gotta listen to nobody. You don't gotta bleed no hype. You don't even gotta pick up a cell phone. Because I promise you, if you didn't have a phone, you may not even know half the shit that's going down. I promise you, if it was some shit you really, really need to be worried about, they gonna put it on the local news. So you can always take a break from your phone. Trust me. But one of the things that I really do want to make sure that we reiterate at this time, again, definitely want to just remember, you know, this was always about not taking on work that you will literally just be setting yourself up for failure for, because you're not set up for success. You are not set up as a human being to successfully play God. So you can attempt it till the cows come home, but the job will never get done. It will never get done well, and it will never be done on time. And it will never really speak to all aspects of what God can do, because the human limitations are really prevalent. There are a lot of things humans cannot do. But just because the way that this shit is so short lifespan. So, all of that being said, really what I want to allow for the artists of the world, the reason I focus on you guys is like, when I'm big on control groups, I come from a science background, so it's like, what's the population? Who are we actually talking to? If you have a really good understanding on like who you're running your tests on, and having actual ethics about who you run tests on as any type of innovator, thinker, creator, like you're going to be solid, because there's no ethics for what you run your fucking trials and errors on, then you're fucked, because that's the population that will be judging your thesis, and they're going to be like, you did nothing but pistol whip us the whole fucking time while you tested this, putting fucking MAC cosmetics on these animals and shit. I'm just kidding. But anyways, that's what I mean. So this is most pleasing to the divine designer, and in turn we can ensure our creations will be in this image. So the only way to really, there's a lot of things in my studio we say we believe. We believe there is a grand design. We believe that grand design could be evolving. It could take any shape. We just know it's not us. It's not me that has the grand design of the cosmos. I don't have that. That's the God I'm referencing. When I pray, that's what I'm praying to. The motherfucker that's orchestrating the cosmos. You know what I mean? Nothing hyper local in these streets, okay? So that design is grandiose. it's actually more about cosmological movement, right? It's not really about, did I make the right choice, texting them back or not? That's really not even what it's about. So when I talk about humans needing to fall in line in the age of Aquarius, it just means like, let's stop making a bunch of conversation about it. You're either going to choose to do what God needs you to do via your intuition, the true north, your truth, your real truth, the truth you were born into that you know in your heart. You're either following that or you're doing whatever, right? You're either following that and that takes you down a path, or you're doing whatever. If you're doing whatever, just know it stalls out, or it has to get rebalanced. So that's why the Earth's movements right now, the Earth's atmosphere right now is like, it doesn't have perfect stillness. It's not perfect harmony. We don't have perfect clarity. There's a lot of this bleeding into one another energy. There's a lot of this old residual age of Pisces energies, where if it's you, then it's me, God's outside of us. If whatever you say I am is what I am, a very narcissistic paradigm. So if it begins with the highest power, the path forward illuminates. So what I really mean about that is, like I said, if it begins with, it's just I did this, I think we should do that, I think we should go here. There are infinite paths available if it's you. But right now, for example, how helpful is it that I can do this or I can do that in some of the circumstances y'all are living in? When you're having trouble breathing, or you're worried about the side effects of something that's just happening. It's like nothing's stopping it. It's just happening to you. And you just know it's not good, right? The question then becomes, do you want to have a million options? I think people right now want to know, what do we need to do? People are so looking at God like, God, tell me what you need me to do. I am just going to do that. I have enough power. I have enough will. I'm not beat down. I'm not a victim. I have too much privilege to be sitting in the shit pinata. Tell me what to do and I will do it. I am the studio that is here to collect for you on the behalf of the divine council, because I have already pre-written enough framework and infrastructure with my husband for us to make sure that we can erect a new paradigm for the artists of this world, of this old world, to all transition to all have different means for not only benefits and resources, but a new economy, a new infrastructure for how we will distribute and circulate our art, but also completely new education on what kind of art we are making and how we need to use technology and innovation to maybe make less waste as it pertains to the creative creations we want. Because if there's one artist, there's 10 million artists, okay? And all 10 million artists want to be fucking easy one day, you know what I mean? And so can we all afford that much waste? Because it's okay if it's really just one, but then in the age of the Aquarian, it's like, if it's you, then it could be anyone, right? It could have been an artist anywhere, that's somewhere. So then we have to ask ourselves, let's think about how to make really cool, like kind of like what we were on with fucking NFTs, where it's like the same framework of like digitizing or using the invisible cloud realm, you know, to find connection, ownership, stock of some sort into the art world. And that's going to translate into our products and what we make and the business and all that. So that's the fun place that we, again, infinite possibilities, the inner workings of God's mind. I try to make sure that you guys know that the giftedness in my mind that God has given me is just a mirror of how, just a fraction of how genius God's mind is, you know? So I believe people really want the highest power to be the beginning right now. We want the Genesis to be God, the highest power, because people don't feel that powerful. They don't feel victimized, but they don't feel that powerful, because the stuff that just hit you is not, this wasn't no man could hit you with what got hit. This was God's judgment. God backed up a very specific party, and the party was God's children. And if you are not on the list of God's children, it's very much seen and felt by you. You'd be in hell, genuinely. Like, this is just hellish. I didn't sign up for a hellish summer. It's going to move every year. It's going to move in the seasons. It's going to move. God's presence, you guys, we have got to be ready to walk with God. Do you understand me? That's the philosophy at me and my husband's studios. You got to be able to walk with God. That's why we walk. But if we start this new chapter with God, then the path forward will illuminate. The one path we need, because again, if you are decimated, if your people are decimated, if your whole town just got burned down by a fire, it's like, what? You need to know what you guys really need to do next. What path is this community going to go on? It's going to be a reflection of the community. So let's call on God and let's not call on ourselves. Because you don't know how long this goes on for. You don't know when God says when. So, this is just details about the brand, colors and things like that, and what have you. So, in pursuing this knowledge, we connect the circuit in our own artistry and unlock the true nature of how our creations connect to ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? In pursuing this knowledge, the knowledge I have, we can connect the circuit in our own artistry, right? Because there is a circuit. I have an idea, boom, comes down, boom, 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 it's outside of me, boom, I receive that, it goes to my head, boom, it comes down as a new download. How did that last artistic creation go to my head? Boom, as the net. It's like, it's a circuit. Now you're connecting that, and you unlock the true nature of how art create. Then only then, when you're actually creating a circuit of your own pattern as a living artist, then only then do you know how your creation, what you made, connects to you. Your creation flows through you. Do you understand me? Remember, Lucille Clifton says this in her menstruation poem. God runs through us, just as menstruation runs through the feminine animal. This blood flows through us. This river flows through each of us. And I believe that that poem is the most beautifully put analogy for the Holy Spirit, animating all of our flesh suits, you know, with grief and pain and awareness, a painful presence and awareness, but an awareness no less, that we are of spirit, that there are sacred waters powering this. Acknowledging the source of all of our energy heals the abandonment that has echoed in the spirit of art for centuries. It's overwhelming presence every time I walk into a gallery. That the install in and of itself, the piece, the period it was made, the time that's passed, the life that was lived, the tears, the unseen parts of it, the harvesting, the collecting, the reselling, the trading, the passing. To my eyes right now on the white wall, and all I see is it being abandoned from the source. Every piece of art is somehow just been abandoned by the creator. And so I didn't want that framework. I can't put a picture on a wall. I don't want a gallery of my photos. I don't even want to be attached to my photos. Maybe I don't even consider myself a photographer. That's how much, you know, abandonment I feel like exists in some of these identities that keep people comfortable. The health of our connection to source must be maintained. The health of our connection, meaning you can't let your health, how healthy of a connection you have. Some people have a really bad connection with God. It's very toxic. You don't talk, you gaslight, you miss calls and texts, you don't listen. You're always arguing with God, starting fake beef, blocking, going distant. Yeah, all the shit you guys projected on me, that's how you treat God. You block, you talk shit, you spread rumors about God without ever even having experienced God. You put God's word in a box. You take the Lord's name in vain. Yeah, it's hard. So, to ensure that truth is aligning the components of all collectives, I don't give a fuck what you're on. I want your shit to be the truth. That's what Aquarius says. Aquarians are the coolest people to ever fucking rock with. They're the people that you actually know. You actually know a few Aquarians, yeah. Yeah, of course you do. Why? Because we're the truth that aligns all you components, yeah? The 11th house. We're the life of the party. Yeah. Yes. I want to make sure that you have a healthy connection to your source. That's it. No matter who you are on this planet, even if you're my op, I want you to have a healthy connection to your source so you can be a better op for me. You know what I mean? You can stay across enemy lines. I just want you to be a little healthier with it, you know? For you, babe. And I want to make sure that what you do, for you, dude, like, I know you're not a flop. You're my op, but I know you respect yourself, right? So I want you to make sure that whatever the fuck you're on, whatever set you rep, make sure you're telling the truth, bro. Because the reason you perished on Judgment Day was because you don't tell the truth, not because you was the wrong op for anybody. I don't got that type of power at all. At all. I can't cause no type of shit. I can see it coming. You couldn't because you reject God. God tells everybody. God sends out the daily paper every damn day. So, creating the work God wills you to do, all caps, says Alexis. This is for the artist who is experimenting with the ways that God's work can enrich our lives beyond those works created in separation, which means, yo, I'm making an album. Yeah, I've been in the studio, I've been recording, but in your real life and real practice, you don't feel connected to God. You don't necessarily, like, even if you're making money and stuff, you think you've created it. A lot of people, you would be surprised, have not seen a miracle maybe in their life. Like, they've never really seen the presence of God for real. They don't know. Like, they hear about people being real devout, but a lot of reasons that people don't fuck with Christians because they like, it's not enough testimonies, bro. So I'm trying to bring you a film institution of testimonies. Jeez. Because you need to know why the niggas is in that church every week acting like that. You need to know why the niggas is at Chick-fil-A for real. It's a hyperfixation for sure. It's definitely autism, but it's like, jeez. Like, you don't understand what's in that. Clap. You don't understand. It's the miracles niggas have seen. It's the deliverance. But if it falls on blind eyes and deaf ears, if you never heard of the word, if you never seen the miracles, then that's why you don't believe. That's why I implore you to make a personal relationship with your source, however you define it. I'm telling you where I came from straight up. My daddy's a preacher, and I got selected. Like, preaching is scary like that. It's a dynasty. It gets passed down. Like, most preachers who are really effective, if they were supposed to, my dad never got his credit. He never got his rights. Because he's so bohemian and shit. He's so like, because he got a pass, brother, because he wasn't always saved and he doesn't come from the cookie cutter shit. He comes from the raw streets. He's kind of like a street preacher, bro. Now, he's not dirty, he's not grimy, but he does come out of that. And like, my dad is really a healing and deliverance lens. Just like with architecture, my dad, Dennis, he like specialized in multifamily housing. Somos Latinos, you know what I mean? Like, he's true to his brand. He's like, the architecture in my home country is what inspires me. Making a more sustainable world for Honduras through American architecture is genius. That's why Dennis is candy bars. That was Jimmy Neutron. If you yeah. This is the theme song. Jimmy Neutron. Yeah, boy genius. Sure. So you get what I'm saying? Anyways, the only way to truly know work expressed through you is to be aware of that the only way to truly know work expressed through you is to be aware of that beyond you, which is present. Right? So a lot of times when I'm channeling, I don't know that I'm even making art. Like right now, I wouldn't think that this is art. That's why I wouldn't have even come forward and shared this with the world. I'm doing this all the time, but I wouldn't have done it as my purpose. But you want to know why? That's because most of the times when you're asleep, you're not even thinking of non-present things that are also present. Like right now, being witnessed by God is what's reminding me to record this spiel instead of just like still delivering the word, but not recording it for the people who would need to see it. And so if you can beware of that beyond you, which is also present, you can get out in front and know when you're actually making art. Because that's another big problem with artists is like a lot of times like you miss out on the stuff, the juicy stuff. Like sometimes there's a disconnect of like art with artists because you're not connected to God for real. So I can really help you at the studio, especially with our residency. That's what I really help you guys one-on-one with kind of like making sure like we really unpack you as an artist and your cadence and your divine rhythm. And then we really make sure that you never miss your iron, like striking when your iron is hot and really knowing that you have energy around you that is receptive to your natural rhythms as the artist and the source of like the artwork business that you propagate, right? So there's a lot of things that you can come to Tethered Studios to help you with as a service as well. Okay, so can the creation of an intentional relationship between God's will and where we are currently standing create a portal or a bridge to an uncharted paradigm for artists to dwell? welcome to my uncharted territory that I made via my bridge between God's will and where we are currently standing, right? I made a bridge. So me, you, and Dennis can all just walk back and forth to the new world and hang out in a safe artist space where you have commerce, you have a voice. You already know, like I already did my work with the Instagram, so you guys kind of know like what artists we like really respect and support and would definitely want to acknowledge. I mean, there are just so many founders to my knowledge of contemporary art. You get what I'm saying? Most of my knowledge is divine, but all the artists that I love showed me what human life in this incarnation, what it meant to be Gen Z. And so it's everyone, you know what I mean? Like, it's everyone that I've ever loved, everyone that has ever shown me top tier work. I deeply love you. And I have, again, another thing I love about my residency is I love to tell people how much, I love to analyze like things that people offer. Like I love to respond to God's orchestration. So when an artist is showing me their work, it's so sacred to me. So I'm always just like, oh my God, bitch. And this made me feel this way. Oh, Jesus Lord. Right? So more things we can do in residency. Anywho. So I've made that sort of uncharted paradigm for all of us to dwell, which is great. May we discover work that was never to be revealed without the light of the moon. You see what I'm saying? Moonlight, moonlight, moonlight. Okay, great. Okay. So the light of the moon is huge for me. I'm such a lunar gal, obviously. Miss Taurus moon in the 12th. I'm a 12th house moon, so you know I'm a freak. Bleak. Anyways. Definitely like a Pisces moon would have give like a prophet Pisces moon would like give birth to like its successor prophet Taurus moon in the 12th daughter. Yeah. Anyways. Unity consciousness starts in the atom of creation and must be present in the contributions we make towards the universe. Combining both yin and yang as artists highlights the maintenance needed to arrive in your practice each moment so we can humanize our role in the world. Promote health, balance, abundance, and service to ensure that all components that make up our world are supported to function in an expansive manner. That is what Tethered Studios is all about. And that's really the chunk of what we mean when we say creating the work God wills you to do. We believe that it will in the end help promote that health, balance, abundance, and service that's actually needed to make sure that all the components on this ship on planet Earth are like good to expand in a positive manner. You know, I really want that for all things, you know. Here's my note on divine timing. The only observation of time that we acknowledge is not formulaic, but rather cyclical. Time is up when it is complete. It is important to structure time as a receptive principle that serves our greater structure and picture of our lives. A lot of times I just think that antiquated systems of time that just keep us in slavery, or just like for example, like making kids wake up at 8 a.m. in like the trauma of like public American school in certain ways, just kind of produces the same outcome. They're going to eat a sugar cereal. They're going to chug a fucking processed pasteurized orange juice. They're going to get on the bus with bubble guts. They're also going to eat a bite of their friend's kolache. Then they're going to keep going into the schoolyard. They're going to be like hazy and sleepy and stupid. And then they're going to, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like a lot of that is just like kind of manufactured, like when and where and why and how and what feels natural to our bodies. And so I definitely believe that in Tethered Studios, I film in this way. I have a lot of integrity in terms of what I believe like directors and filmmakers should not be doing in terms of like how they explain time in their work. But for any artist in general, like when we do time here, like time is up when it's complete. We're only on our time. Like you're only here to live your life and complete the cycles and evolution that God has for you. And so however long it takes you is however the fuck long it's going to take. And so that's more important to me than just like measuring time to make myself feel small or like a loser. Because what's the point? If you just want to make yourself feel bad, then just say that. But I'm not that type of person. I really don't want to just like tear myself down. So seeking completeness, wholeness promotes a fuller, more accurate picture across any medium. And that's how I try to pitch to you artists. I'm like, listen, seeking completeness and wholeness promotes like way fuller and more accurate pictures of anything across any medium. So that's the buy-in. It's like, why do I want to join this art studio and join this like global network that all the new like all artists are like joining in on? They feel like, yeah, this is what we believe in. We should like all push this. This should all belong to us. We should all like champion this as, you know, our own space. And these are all our beliefs and ideals. And we should vote for Alexis for president. Yeah, that's what it should be. Yes. So There is no pace that exists other than the movement / change revealed in our inner stillness. And that's what I believe. That's my cow formula. I'm going to sit my ass down and we'll see what gets done in a day. Yeah, I'm going to start with relaxation. I'm going to start with my leisure. Yes, my leisure. Yes. Yes. I'm going to start by feeling good, staying still, and seeing what's really stirring my spirit. What's really needed of me right now. Because if I keep listening to that inner stillness that gently calls me to take the next step, I take that next step and God opens the abundance. Because sometimes the prayer is instantly said, yes, you can. But the yes coming into your hands, the keys to the castle, come when you keep listening to the yes, and then the yes was telling you what steps to take to get the key. So don't stop until you get the key. It's up when you're done, okay? God needs a certain amount of shit from you to bless you forever in the kingdom. I'm going to do that, God said. May we only hear sounds and observe time that is revealed in the state of meditation, flow and ease. Flow state for the artist. Do you understand what I'm saying? Flow state for the artist. Can we only hear and see shit that comes from genuine, the holiest spirit, you feel me? The vibration of this studio is strategically designed to be the full counsel of source channeled intuitively by the studio expressionist Alexis Taylor, and designated persons appointed to intuitively connect with the original vision of the space. So it'll be me and whoever the fuck I designate. To make sure that this is upheld, you know, this vibration. You know, the vibration I started all those years ago. That's why you guys are going to talk about me. All the artists in the world are just like, oh, we just love Alexis. It's like family to me. Every artist is my family. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, it's not a promotional space by any means, and upholds the integrity of a sacred dwelling for all who rely on its energy. Y'all tell me, twins, we're at year 6. Do you think I did 23-year-old Alexis proud with that sentence? Do you genuinely think like the space that we're in right now is not a promotional space by any means, but it upholds the integrity of a sacred dwelling for all who rely on its energy? I feel pretty good. I found a way to make sure I could keep a safe space for us. Keep a place for me. Okay, anyways. Philosophy. You can't really do the Frank Ocean vocal stimmy. Okay. So, there are some moments that I've come to experience and move through. Do you hear me calling in the storm right now? We're so fortunate. We have had rain every single day for the last 8 days. The rain knows. The trees need us so that we can help the ones who really deserve it. I got some old guys. I'm in the Emerald Forest over here, y'all. So I got some old guys who need a lot of water in the summertime. So I try to make sure they get some water. Try to let them, hey, we got motion over here. We got that Boss D-Lo. We got that motion. We got that. Yeah, okay. So, there are some moments that I've come to experience and move through that I later would have concluded I had no possible way of averting. Here is one of those moments. Arriving at this space came with a lot of support from the forces that have raised me to the occasion of everyday life. For that alone, I am reduced to the utmost respect and gratitude for the specificity of how life is expressed through me. And it was in this realization that a gift of epic and intangible proportions bubbled to the exterior of my psyche. I make that distinction to say that it never had the possibility of being separate, but that it, like the entirety of my internal being, holds a fragment of my source within it, and thus inspiration is endlessly drawn, given, and explored. I'll start with a story that is analogous to the core of my mission in this lifetime. My source gave it to me like a perfect story with simple parts. I approached a chariot with a seat for just one. My name is so obviously engraved in the wood and embalmed by a polish only God theirself could have created. There is no mistake who is meant to steer this chariot to a destination whose map stretched out before me. How to get from here to there is the essence of life on this particular planet. We have a fair source, one who bestows the necessary components needed to bring to light the magic in innovation and improvisation. As I approached the space, a dog appeared, And like the spirit of our dog guides, he is marked by his notable loyalty to the present moment. The dog spirit knows many truths about the nature of my steps as I will walk this path. But to be equipped with its teaching as I move ensures that God intends this journey to be a successful one, filled with a precision and execution that shouts God's glory. This was the end of the message, meant to embody in its entirety. Business model written May 22, 2020 by Alexis Taylor. My role as founder. I am just coming out of an ascension process that resulted in a change in fortune and a reunifying of all dimensions of myself. I am here to set the tone and intention of this space around self-mastery as it correlates to collective consciousness. I'm leaving the Knight of Pentacles energy with restored vision and focus. I become the King of Swords. I am creating this alongside Dennis, which helps because a major focus of the work is rooted in relationship growth. I'm honoring my relationship when I continue to do the work of my soul maintenance. It just so happens to be a gift of just abundance. This is about me committing more fully to myself. Glory be to the Most High. Wow. A reunion with myself means I'm able to re-enter my connections with others as a present addition to the space. This business is ultimately me honoring my own healing reservoir within by facilitating and contributing to the collective ascension. I want to be a high-vibing whole person that I can write a story that the future generations can rejoice in as they embrace the age of light we give them. This is a space of love and forgiveness. One welcomes you and the other empowers you to connect. My purpose is to constantly seek harmony in my relationships, but that starts by acquainting myself to my true authenticity. Only then will I become empowered to create valuable contributions as we mark all the beautiful physical creation born of this ascension process. You should draw your purpose from your inner will that warms you up to the fact that you have something to share. Rejecting any notions of separation and embracing that the universe resides in all of us. Seeking higher ground will collectively raise our consciousness so we can remember the essence of life that feels more familiar, protected, and sustainable. My purpose is to surrender to the magic of who I am. I am because we are. I hope this work continues to bring me closer to the pulse of life, found in authentic connection and reflected light. Why do I want to start this business? I want to start this project to honor the journey in my own life. I find myself reviewing the experiences of my life, and the divine in me recognizes the divine intervention in my steps. These are guided steps. Once you've realized that the universe supplies endless abundance, you understand the degree to which you've held a lack mentality. Understanding that no one has what my higher authentic self has or is. If you can understand this, you can detach from the ego that could have otherwise needed to protect your vision. Learning to harness your creative fire after following the divine will, after following the divine period, will fill that long-term need we all have to vibrate highly and savor the human experience. Hence why joining and representing a studio that affords you the opportunity to create works of a lifetime completely tethered to spirit through the entire birthing process. Personally, I wanted the circumstances, things I create to be strengthened. I want it to ebb and flow as all cycles do, and in doing that, we can restore balance and empower all artists to choose to create from their highest selves. It is time to rebuild the relationship between our creations and ourselves. We should all be considering ourselves co-creators of our universe because we work in tandem with the universe in this new world. We are reminding ourselves of what it means to collapse, expose, create, reevaluate, and fortify. We have to understand that life that gets created in these relationships, whether with ourselves, our creations, or with those around us, right? Believe that God is change, here to show you that we are to be in the state of constant inner work. Maintenance is required, and it's time to rebrand it as its value to all of us is central to our well-being. It's really time to rebrand genuine, spiritual maintenance. That can't be something that's laborious. That's got to be the fun vibe. I'm here to be the fun vibe while we spiritually maintain ourselves. Redefining maintenance. We are here to show ourselves we are capable of breathing new life into the things we do. What's revealed once you peel the layers? Question. Consciously creating new commitments. How are my many layers beginning to affect my ability to love myself? Rebuilding life surrounding unconditional and unconventional love of self. What would I like Tethered Studios to become? A successful estate. The time came in my journey for my wishes to come true. Yes. The reason it's going to happen is because I've done my karmic work and waited my turn, lovingly in divine timing. Despite the difficulty of my karmic debt, I want this to be all that God, source, and universe promised me it'd be. I want this to become a physical manifestation of how I live an abundant and spiritually rich life. Let those who don't believe that to be true for themselves see this project and immediately see their amazing worth and value reflected back. To find this space is to become the seeker. Always seek from within and watch what is reflected in your surroundings. I want this to be my keys to the castle. I want this to become the way that I reconnect to my sacral chakra. I have been on this long journey trying to manifest my creating power back, and I feel as though finding myself wanting to ground this dream down will aid me in continuing to serve my soul's purpose. I want this to help restore karmic balance. What can I offer my artists in residency? That would be all of you. I can offer my skills and abilities as an aligned energy that takes my psychic abilities and past life gifts to an Akashic vision of the new world. I can offer everybody, I know that everybody wants profound awareness. We can also offer harmony and healing as we rebalance the collective anger, guilt, pain, and fear. Self-healing that lasts. I want to show the importance in seeing relationships for what they really are, rather than how you'd like them to be. It's not easy or comfortable work, but to seek clarity, you must be able to stand in your own abilities to see. I want you to relearn to meet your needs as an artist and honor your heart space. And I want to show you that blockages and withdrawing from your relationship to creation limits the caliber of source material you'll receive overall, truly. What makes a residency special? The strength and sustainability of the network I'm creating, the artists in residence. Like, honestly, being strong and flexible. That's what it is at our residency. If I believe I have a strong foundation that can stand up to anything because of how widely I've spread my roots, then now is the perfect time to stand tall and truly feel the earth's support beneath my feet. I am offering myself an opportunity to reinforce my foundations in work, family, spirit, and in my belief in myself. I aim to exude peaceful strength and hope others can learn to ignite their flames as well. I just want you to know you're powerful, genuinely. Let's learn to take the joy and pain of your experience and expanded consciousness and expand your life and find financial abundance. Life isn't only about connecting with other people, you guys. Some of the most important connections you can have are those of your higher self and the divine. Showing how reconnecting with your spiritual self will propel your creations forward onto the road of authentic contributions. I want you to unlearn so that you can just be. Taking care of your physical body and spiritual body in tandem. Take this as time for yourself to just breathe, recharge, reinvest, and reset. We are taking responsibility for our own actions and no longer being victims of our circumstance. So who is my ideal artist to seek out? Those who are experiencing all the hard work they believe they're putting in to achieve a higher position, yet the physical opportunity still eludes you. So I want to be revisiting and meditating on the principles and processes of the tree of life with you. Those of you who find that your efforts aren't paying off, I'm really interested in tapping into you. And those who aren't interested in the easy route, but the route to their highest potential, right? I think there's so many of you who realize, like, I don't want a shortcut, and I'm really interested in you because I have a really great, long, winding back road that we can hang out on and heal very slowly together and have a really fulfilling life. Even if we're in the shitter, we're gonna have fun. Also, those who are willing to put in the hard work to achieve their goals. That's a huge one. I work really hard. Dennis works really hard. We want to work for you, but we also want you to really love hard work as well. Tired of keeping my own foot in my mouth or keeping myself out in the cold. I know there's a lot of people that struggle with self-sabotage, so I really care about you a lot. I am one of you, and I just want you to find a space that works really well with helping create new life habits that support you from curbing that behavior. It's time for the death of ego-based creations, and I'm ready to be divinely guided in all that I create in my life. Transforming collective creativity and cleansing our creations from bondage of ego. I want to help you with that, and if that feels like where you're at or that's where you're currently stationed, then maybe the Tethered Studios 2026 residency program is for you. So how can I serve my artists during their residency? I had to let go of my old perceptions of limitation and replace them with new thoughts and words that reminded me of God's strength. By connecting with others, sharing my gifts, I am fulfilling my soul's work, which helps me to move from timid to empowered. Most people just need truth and clarity. So to regain control of their own creativity, that's just really what it is. I think I can give you both truth and clarity. By reconciling with my own desire and reality, I open myself to the magnitude of my gifts, and now they have reached a point where it is important that they are shared. Part of restoring balance includes assuming the role you were destined to play. I know I am meant to be a leader and teach from the soul experience, from my soul experience, and I aim to do just that. These matters of the heart take time to develop, but prove to be extremely fruitful. Start by offering you all each individual services. So what do I need to start? I have all that I need always. My environment supplies me with the infinite resources to begin whatever my heart desires. I need to speak only of my financial independence, increased authority, and creative autonomy at work. I can also wait and be receptive to potentially finding a person with resources and business insight to jumpstart me. I'm a booster, baby. Yes. Okay. So the Queen of Keys is looking fondly at my position as reverse Queen of Scrolls, so it leads me to believe that they will be a mentor I should rest and reconsider. Am I prepared? Of course. And then the rest is kind of like a lot of things. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and conclude the first portion of that. That is just a sample of our handbook that is always available at the studio that we offer everyone who wants to connect with us. But I want to invite you all to a little bit of surprise that just kind of came to me. But in September of 2026, we will be going ahead and finishing out September, October, November, and December. The last third of our year, let's say, we will be doing a Tethered Studios residency program. So God will put on my heart to accept about as many artists as I think I can do. I'm pretty excited. I think I'm gonna be like pretty swamped, but I'm thinking that it might be in the 25 to 40 artists range, probably closer to the 25. So I think I'm gonna open up the residency back up. If you are an artist of any caliber and you feel like you need personalized support to like help you with any aspect of your personal walk as the runner of your art business or the artist in your art world, I hope that, you know, this studio is a resource that you're interested in. I'm gonna drop more information about that as the time comes out. But yeah, I just wanted to announce and surprise you guys that we will be doing residency September 2026. So super excited. It'll be a really cozy, fun way to kind of like do, I kind of want to just do like autumn to, it's actually, I lied. It's actually probably going to be a 6-month program. I think we're going to do from September to, no, I'm right. September to the new year. Yes. So the last, I wanted to kind of do like an autumn into winter vibe. And I just kind of wanted to make sure that you guys, are locked in this winter, you know? You're cuffed, if you will. So I think if you guys want to be cuffed for the next artist residency, I know a lot of people are like, when is she going to do a residency again? So I'm thinking we'll do a cool, really fun, like virtual residency for the studio. So I'm really excited. If this was interesting, please spend your time like perusing the studio and getting as long as you need. We have a lot of information and access. And if you feel like there's that's something you'd be interested in, we're excited. Stay tuned. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.